Hi there, Michael here again with another weekly reflection on our Bible in a Year readings. We're at the minute in the throes of Leviticus, and I know that this book has a reputation for just being really hard going. It's just full of law, isn't it? It's just full of lots of different instructions, like highly detailed. It talks about requirements and punishments, all this kind of stuff. But I've actually, in the midst of it, been really struck this week by the amazing goodness of God, and two examples particularly stood out for me. So the first has to do with the highly specific rules of worship that God gives His people, and for this issue you need to make this sacrifice in this way, or if you can't make that sacrifice because you have less money, then you need to make this sacrifice instead, and it's very, very prescribed. And actually, one thing I love about that is it's not trial and error. When you think about the surrounding cultures that were also practicing religion at the time, much of what they did was a trial and error thing. So they might one day kind of think, okay, how are we going to get a blessing from our gods for the harvest? So they'll do something and it might work, it might not work. So they'll try something else and it might work or it might not work. And the whole time it's about figuring out what might appease their deity. The whole time it's about try this, oh that failed, try that, let's kill another baby, let's see what's going to happen, how can we appease the gods? And actually Yahweh isn't like that. Yahweh is not trial and error. Yahweh makes it abundantly clear, and I think sometimes we can interpret this as God being arbitrary and quite demanding, but actually I love the fact that He's really specific and helpful, because it empowers us, or empowered Israel to go, okay, this is what God's asked for, and if we do this, this will happen. And it was really clear, and that's actually the goodness, the kindness of God, saying, I don't want you to have to question me or second guess me. I don't want you to have to get this wrong all the time. I just want to help you guys know this is how it works. And just hugely helpful. It just set the nation of Israel apart from all the other nations. They just went, this is what God requires. If we do this, we get blessing. If we don't do this, we don't get God's blessing. And actually that clarity, that communication is the goodness of God. And the second example came bizarrely from a section that the NIV entitles Cleansing from Defiling Skin Diseases. I never once thought I would get something from a section of the Bible entitled that, but what this section talks about is when someone presents an unusual skin abrasion, here's what you should do to test whether or not it's going to cause an issue for the rest of the camp. And basically this is God giving Israel a rudimentary healthcare system. And again, it's not trial and error, it's not let's see, it's not, avoided the issue that someone who may actually just have a little bit of bruising or just kind of a couple of funny spots, instead of getting sent out of the camp for fear that it might be an issue, there's actually a way of figuring out whether it's going to be a problem or not, so nobody gets mishandled. And I just think it's really cool that the God of biology, the God who created us, teaches Israel basic medicine and basic healthcare. I just think that's really cool, that is the kindness and goodness of God going, you're going to be my people, and I want to help you live long and healthy lives, and in order to do that, I'm going to explain to you medicine. I'm going to say, here's a test. Here's how you can do it. It's not trial and error. You don't have to figure this out. You're not going to have to do 1,000 autopsies before you get to the root of the problem. If someone presents this kind of thing, do this. If this is the reaction, do that. If this is the reaction, do this instead. And that clarity and that the specific nature of that is a bit hard to read, but when you think about what it means about the God who stands with us and walks with us in this stuff, that's actually really powerful. So there you go, a couple of reflections about the goodness of God from the book of Leviticus. I think it's just worth saying that I know that this is the book where people tend to run out of steam with the whole Bible in 1 year thing, and we're a couple of months in, and so things may have been going well, but you may find yourself over the last couple of weeks having a tendency to start falling behind. But I just want to encourage you, there are always glimpses of God to be found, even in these harder to read books. And actually in a very short time, we're back in a narrative, and it's all story, and that stuff that we find a little bit easier to grapple with. So do keep going with it all. If you've fallen behind, maybe mark out a specific evening where you're going to catch up, or you know what, just pick up from where we are now if you're worried that you're never going to catch up again. It's more important that you read the Bible and that you see God than you just kind of rubbish the whole thing just because you've fallen behind. So we'd love to hear what some of your reflections are over the past couple of weeks, or how you're finding the whole Bible in 1 Year challenge as a whole. We'd love to hear from you. Do comment below this video or send us an email to the office. Do keep sharing what you're discovering of God as we do this, and do keep going with your reading. And we'll be back next week with another reflection. Have a good one.